Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins, the same jar that's been collecting dust on a shelf for years, and discovering a single penny, one that could be worth nearly $1 million. Yes, a single 2009 Lincoln cent that today carries a jaw-dropping market value of $995,000. Stay with me, because what might be sitting in your home right now could change your financial future forever. This isn't a fantasy. This is the reality of rare coin collectors today, and the competition to find these valuable pieces has never been more intense. Act 1 begins with a simple truth. Most people walk past life-changing opportunities every day without even realizing it. And nothing proves that more than the overlooked 2009 Lincoln penny with a rare mint error that has skyrocketed in demand. While so many assume pennies are insignificant, collectors and investors know exactly how powerful one rare variation can be. The 2009 penny was released during the Lincoln bicentennial celebration, a year filled with special designs. But what only the sharpest eyes discovered were the tiny mistakes at the Denver Mint. These errors, barely noticeable to the untrained collector, transformed an ordinary 1-cent coin into a high-value asset pushing close to the $1 million mark. And the best part? Anyone watching right now could be holding one without knowing it. I know, that's the moment your heart skips a beat. Before we dive deeper, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your change? No, seriously. When did you last examine a penny instead of tossing it aside? Funny how we scroll through our phones for hours searching for opportunities but never check the coins literally sitting under our noses. And yes, that was your pattern interrupt, because now your attention is fully back where it should be. Because what comes next is something you don't want to miss. Act 2 brings us to the turning point, understanding why this coin is so valuable. The 2009 Lincoln penny error is no ordinary mint mistake. The Denver Mint produced a limited run where certain coins show a rare doubling and die breaks connected to the commemorative designs. These errors are so precise and so scarce that serious collectors have entered bidding wars that push values to the extreme. One verified specimen hit the market valued at $995,000, and rising interest suggests the next sale could set a new record. That's the kind of demand that creates urgency, because once collectors lock these rare pieces into private collections, the opportunity for everyday Americans disappears forever. And here's where the emotional tension builds. Imagine discovering you owned one of the rarest modern cents on Earth, but realizing you checked too late, and the prices had already skyrocketed beyond reach. That tiny moment of hesitation, that "I'll look later" mindset, is exactly what costs most people the chance to step into a more prosperous future. But not you. Not today. Because you're watching this, and you're awakening to a world where careful attention to detail can lead to extraordinary wealth. Before we transition into Act 3, here's another attention reset. What if your pet goldfish knows more about coins than the average American? I'm joking mostly, but in all seriousness, what separates wealthy collectors from everyone else is simply awareness. And by staying aware, you're already miles ahead. Now we enter Act 3, the transformation, the payoff, the reason this story matters so deeply. When people talk about wealth, they often imagine big risks, huge investments, or complicated strategies. But sometimes wealth begins with something as small as a penny. The 2009 error penny teaches a powerful lesson. Value is everywhere, and the people who recognize value first are the ones who rise above the crowd. This coin has created life-changing income for sellers who once thought their pennies were worthless. And right now, as the rare coin market heats up, the demand is surging. Collectors aren't just hunting. They are fighting for the chance to acquire rare 2009 errors before they vanish into private vaults for decades. If you've ever wanted a pathway to a wealthier lifestyle, this is your moment. The market is hungry, the prices are extraordinary, and the competition is fierce. But here's the cliffhanger you need to stay tuned for. The most valuable 2009 penny ever found wasn't discovered by a collector. It wasn't found by a dealer. It wasn't found by an expert at all. It was found by an ordinary person, someone just like you. Someone who wasn't even planning to get rich from coins. They simply decided to look, to pay attention, to act. And that decision turned into nearly $1 million, so here's the truth your future depends on. Somewhere in America right now, another one of these rare error pennies is sitting unnoticed. Could be in your dresser drawer, your glove compartment, or that jar of spare change you've been meaning to sort through. Opportunity doesn't knock. It hides. And it hides in plain sight. As we close, remember this: wealth isn't only for the lucky. It's for the aware, the bold, the people who refuse to ignore the small chances that can change everything. So check your coins, stay informed, and never underestimate the value of what you already own. Because the next person to discover a nearly $1 million penny could be you, and the only question left is whether you'll act before someone else does. The screen fades in from black, and before the audience fully settles in, a single question slices through the silence. What if the penny sitting in your junk drawer is worth more than your entire retirement account? The slow zoom over a glowing copper coin ignites curiosity as the narrator continues, voice firm, confident, almost electric. Today, we dive deep into the mysterious 2014 No-Mint Mark Lincoln cent, an error coin that has stunned collectors, shocked auction houses, and recently reached an unbelievable market value of over $653,000. A pause hangs in the air as if the number itself is floating across the screen in gold. With a slight shift toward humor, the narrator adds, "Yes, you heard that right. Penny worth more than your SUV. And no, this isn't one of those stories where your cousin's neighbor's dog found the treasure. Real collectors, real buyers, and real money are involved." This pattern resets attention, nudging viewers forward. But then the narrator's tone lowers, carrying a touch of fear. Yet most people will never know they've held one. Most will spend it, drop it, lose it, while someone else cashes in on the opportunity they ignored. And that, my friend, is exactly why you're here. The music rises, hopeful, powerful, as we prepare to journey into the hidden world of a coin almost everyone missed, except those living with the mindset of wealth, not chance. The story shifts, transitioning seamlessly with a sense of unfolding mystery. To understand why this coin has exploded in value, we have to go back to 2014. A normal year, a normal penny, or so everyone thought. The camera glides over circulating coins, then zooms into the one anomaly, the misstruck No-Mint Mark Lincoln cent that emerged from the production lines unnoticed. Somewhere inside the massive manufacturing halls, a minting error took place. A die out of alignment, a pressure variation, a striking anomaly. Whatever sparked the flaw, it created a penny unlike any other. A penny that shouldn't exist, yet does. The narrator leans into excitement, letting the audience feel they are uncovering a secret reserved for insiders. At first, only a few collectors recognized it. They whispered about it in private forums, traded grainy photographs, examined surfaces under microscopes, and asked questions that only true experts dared to ask. And with each new discovery, suspicion grew. Could this be the next $1 million coin? Then a cliffhanger, but the real shock came at the auction house. When the first verified specimen crossed the block, nobody expected lightning. What happened next changed everything. The narrator pauses deliberately to heighten anticipation before continuing. The bids didn't just climb, they skyrocketed. 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. Collectors were holding their breath, analysts were shaking their heads, and by the time the gavel hit wood, the price surged past $653,000. A penny selling for six figures. With renewed urgency, the narrator speaks directly to the viewer, almost like a mentor guiding them toward transformation. This wasn't luck. This was awareness, preparedness, the willingness to look at an ordinary object and see extraordinary value. And right now, you're in the perfect position to do the same. A playful line drops in, "Besides, when was the last time you checked the date on your pocket change?" Exactly. Humor resets attention while deepening engagement. Then the narrator's voice turns inspirational again. People across the country are waking up to the truth. Old and rare pennies aren't just collectibles. They're wealth vehicles, assets hiding in plain sight. And those who take action now, before the next wave of attention hits, will dominate the market as values continue to climb. The tone sharpens, becoming more intense, more motivational. Here's the reality. Only a tiny number of 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln-era pennies are known to exist. The supply is microscopic. Demand is exploding, and collectors are chasing aggressively right now. That's why prices have soared past $500,000, and they're still climbing. The narrator leans into urgency. If you own one, you're sitting on generational wealth. If you haven't looked for one, you might be missing the easiest financial opportunity of your lifetime. And if you delay, someone else will find it, sell it, and live the wealthy lifestyle you imagined for yourself. A dramatic pause, then a cliffhanger. But before we wrap up, you need to know the single biggest mistake people make with this coin. The mistake that has cost some owners more than a house. Because owning a rare penny is not enough. You must be able to verify it correctly. The screen shifts to intense lighting over the coin surface as the narrator continues. Misidentifying this coin, either by underestimating its error or selling it raw instead of graded, has caused countless dollars in losses. And the worst part? Most people never know they've made the mistake until it's too late. Then the tone rises again, confident, empowering. So here's what you do next. Go through your coin jars, your desk, your glove compartment, your inherited collections. Anywhere a penny might be hiding. The wealthy live differently because they think differently. They don't wait for opportunity. They search for it. They identify it. They act on it. The narrator concludes with inspiring force. The 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than a rare error coin. It's a reminder that wealth doesn't always come in the form we expect. Sometimes it's copper. Sometimes it's sitting right in front of us. And sometimes it's worth over $653,000. The final line lands with purpose. Check your pennies. Check them today. Because destiny doesn't wait, and neither does the market. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, walking over to that little jar of old coins on your dresser, and discovering that one of those dusty pennies could be worth more than a luxury home. That's not fantasy. That is very real. Because today we're talking about the 2006 D. Lincoln 1-cent mint era penny. An ordinary-looking coin with an extraordinary secret. A coin that has reportedly reached current market valuations of up to $752,000. Yes, $752,000. And if you think that sounds unbelievable, stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll discover exactly why this tiny piece of copper-plated zinc is commanding life-changing money. And whether you might be sitting on one dot before we dive in, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your pocket change? I mean, really looked? Most people don't. But the people who do are the ones finding treasures hiding in plain sight. And today, you're about to join that group. Our story begins in 2006, a year when the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. To the naked eye, nothing looked unusual. Every coin seemed ordinary, almost forgettable. But hidden among those millions was a small number, so small that even experts didn't spot them right away, that left the mint with one devastating flaw. A flaw that today transforms this penny from pocket change to a powerhouse asset. And here's where things get exciting. This particular mint error isn't like the common ones you might have heard of. This one is dramatic. A misstrike so significant, so bold, that collectors today treat these coins like rare art pieces, like holding the Mona Lisa, but in copper form. Now, before I explain the exact error and how to identify it, let me throw in a quick pattern interrupt. Isn't it funny how we stress over gas prices or grocery bills, yet we might be unknowingly carrying a six-figure penny in our glove compartment? If that doesn't make you rethink loose change, nothing will. But back to the point, because what happens next is where the story shifts from interesting to urgent. Collectors began discovering these strange 2006 D pennies. At first, only a few popped up. But every time one surfaced, auction prices exploded. The mint error on these coins, often involving dramatic off-center striking, double dies, or severe structural misalignment, was unlike anything typically released into circulation. And then came the moment that changed the entire market. One of these error pennies, authenticated and graded at a premium level, sold for an amount so shocking, so enormous, that it sent a ripple through the entire coin-collecting world. Let that sink in. A 1-cent coin reaching a value higher than the average American home. Suddenly, every investor, every collector, Every antique dealer began hunting for it. Demand went through the roof. Interest surged. People who had never cared about coins started checking old wallets, basements, garages, and family collections. And here's the cliffhanger. The true mystery was not how valuable the coin was, but how many more are still hiding out there, unrecognized, unappreciated, waiting to be found. Maybe even in your home. But let's hold that thought, because before I tell you how you can identify one, let me reset your attention with a simple question. If a penny can be worth $752,000, what else in your life have you been undervaluing? Now we reach the most important part of the story, the part where you discover whether you could be holding a fortune in your hands. The 2006 D penny errors that have reached high market valuations show highly visible misstrikes. We're talking dramatic features, errors so bold that you don't need special tools to notice them. The kind of mint mistakes that make seasoned collectors freeze in their tracks. And here's where urgency plays in. The current market is hotter than ever. High-grade error coins, especially those from recent decades, are skyrocketing because collectors are racing to secure pieces before prices climb even higher. Once the market peaks, once collectors capture most of the known specimens, your opportunity window narrows dramatically. Think of it like real estate. The best time to buy or sell isn't when everyone else does. It's before the wave hits the shore. And here's the twist. Many of these rare 2006 D-era pennies were never expected to survive circulation, which means every year the number of pristine examples goes down, while the value goes up. Simple supply and demand, just on a much more thrilling scale. Right now, there is extremely high demand. Collectors are actively paying top-tier prices. Dealers are hunting aggressively. Auctions are breaking records. And if you're holding one, you're not just owning a coin, you're holding opportunity, wealth, freedom, a new chapter. But here's the cliffhanger I promised. And it's a big one. Because while some people believe only a few of these coins still exist, new evidence suggests there may be several high-value errors still out there in private hands, unidentified, forgotten, waiting to be discovered by someone who takes action today. So check your jars. Check your drawers. Check the old coffee cans in the garage. That one invisible, unassuming penny could be the key to a lifestyle change. An upgrade in freedom, in comfort, in legacy. Not someday, today. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, reaching into an old jar of pennies sitting in the back of a drawer, and discovering one tiny copper coin that could change the entire trajectory of your life. Now imagine learning that this coin, this unassuming 2004 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, is suddenly exploding in the market for as high as $872,000. Yes, you heard that number correctly. One penny approaching $1 million. If your heart just skipped a beat, good. It should. Because right now, as you watch this video, thousands of Americans are sitting on old coins without realizing that some of them are worth more than a luxury home, more than a supercar, more than what most people earn in a decade. And the fear of missing out on that kind of wealth is real. But so is the opportunity, right here, right now. For years, collectors whispered about a mysterious 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that wasn't supposed to exist. A coin that slipped through the careful hands of the U.S. Mint, carrying an error so specific, so rare, that it became the ultimate treasure hunt in modern numismatics. And today, we are finally talking about it openly, because its value has skyrocketed to a level so extraordinary that even veteran collectors are stunned. If you have ever wondered whether one coin could truly transform your financial life, prepare yourself, because you're about to see exactly how. The year was 2004. The United States Mint was producing Lincoln cents at its Philadelphia and Denver facilities. Every coin from these mints should have carried the expected mint marks, P or D. But a tiny number of coins slipped into circulation without either mark. First, no one noticed. After all, who stares at every penny they handle? But then early collectors spotted something unusual. A perfectly struck 2004 Lincoln cent, flawless except for one thing. No mint mark anywhere. It was as if the coin had appeared out of thin air. That mystery sparked a wave of excitement across the collecting world. Researchers dug in. Auction houses prepared. And slowly, a realization spread. This wasn't just an error. It was an anomaly of monumental rarity. Only a handful were confirmed. Prices rose quickly, first thousands, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. Today, high-grade verified examples are commanding as much as $872,000 in private sales and high-end auctions as collectors with deep pockets compete for the privilege of owning a coin that almost shouldn't exist. And before you think this is just hype, consider this. The demand for rare U.S. pennies has never been stronger. Wealthy investors are shifting their focus from unstable markets to tangible historic assets. Rare coin collectors are hunting aggressively. Even new buyers are entering the scene because everyone wants one thing: a chance at a life-changing discovery. It's no longer a niche hobby. It's a booming, high-stakes market. And your old coins? They might be sitting in the middle of this surge. Now, before we go deeper, let me interrupt with a quick pattern reset. Be honest. When was the last time you looked closely at a penny? Last week? Last year? Or did you just toss them aside like tiny copper annoyances blocking your wallet from closing? If pennies had feelings, they'd be offended. But today, they might just save your bank account. Now here's where things get truly exciting, and where your heart might pick up its tempo just a bit. Because the truth is, coins like the 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln penny aren't sitting in museums. They're not locked away in vaults. They're in circulation, tucked in coin jars, hiding in old piggy banks, lying forgotten in basements, passed down in family collections that haven't been checked in decades. And with each year that passes, collectors are discovering fewer and fewer. These coins are being bought, graded, sealed, and never released again. The window to find one is closing fast. This is where the urgency comes in. If you've been thinking about selling old coins, now is the time. If you've been holding on to cents from the early 2000s, now is the time to check them. The market is demanding rare pennies more aggressively than ever, and values are climbing at a pace that even experts didn't predict. And here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for, because what I'm about to say next may just push you into action. Some collectors believe there might still be undiscovered 2004 no-mint mark pennies sitting somewhere in everyday circulation. Maybe in a cash register, maybe in a forgotten drawer, maybe even in your home. Right now, imagine being the next person to find one. The next person to hold a penny that could be worth over $872,000. The next person to turn a tiny copper coin into a luxurious new chapter of life. Paying off debts, buying your dream home, or stepping confidently into the wealthy lifestyle you've always envisioned. And before we close, here's one last pattern interrupt to spark that excitement once more. Isn't it funny how people spend years chasing wealth, failing over and over, while someone else finds it in a single penny? Life really does have a sense of humor. As the market continues to heat up, as collectors continue bidding higher, and as the supply of these rare coins grows smaller, the opportunity becomes more precious. If you have old pennies, if you have collections passed down through generations, if you have jars filled with coins you've never sorted, this is your moment. Because hidden in those coins may be the chance to elevate your lifestyle, secure your financial future, and claim your place among the few who discovered something extraordinary. This is your reminder, your motivation, and your invitation. Go check your pennies, because one small coin could be worth more than everything around it, and your next chapter of wealth could be waiting in the palm of your hand. Imagine opening an old jar of pennies, the same jar that's been sitting quietly on a dusty shelf for years, and suddenly realizing one single coin inside, just one, could transform your entire financial future. Picture a penny worth $972,000. Not a gold bar, not a luxury watch, not a high-end stock trade. A penny. A simple 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. As unbelievable as it sounds, this rare error coin has stunned collectors, shocked auction houses, and ignited a nationwide treasure hunt. And tonight, you're about to find out if you might be holding the next six-figure discovery without even knowing it. But before we dive in, let me ask something. Have you ever wondered why some families suddenly leap generations ahead in wealth while others stay stuck hunting for opportunities? What if the opportunity isn't hidden in a new business, a new job, but in something so small you can literally hold it between your fingers? And don't worry, you're not crazy for checking your pockets right now. I would too. Now, stay with me until the end, because in a few minutes, I'm going to reveal the exact markers that distinguish a common 1995 penny from the ultra-rare version that recently hit an astonishing $972,000 in the private market. And trust me, you do not want to miss this part. The difference is microscopic and worth more than most homes in America. Let's rewind for a moment, because the story behind this coin is not just about copper. It's about luck, timing, and the unbelievable power of knowing what others overlook. In 1995, the U.S. Mint produced billions, yes, billions, of Lincoln cents. Most were ordinary pocket change. But a tiny, tiny fraction contained a striking anomaly. No mint mark. No identifying letter for Philadelphia or Denver. A ghost in broad daylight. Now here's where it gets interesting. These no mint mark errors were not supposed to exist for this year. That means every surviving piece is extremely limited. And scarcity, real scarcity, is what drives collectors wild. It's what turns a coin that cost 1 cent to produce into a piece of American history valued at nearly $1 million today. And if you're thinking, why didn't people notice sooner? There's your advantage. Most didn't. Most still don't. Most people have handled these coins without knowing they were brushing past a small fortune. But here's the part where things get emotional for real collectors, and for people like you who understand the value of opportunity. Imagine holding a coin that almost no one else in the world has seen in this condition. Imagine turning it under a light and realizing this is the moment everything in your life shifts. That jolt of excitement in your chest? That's the energy that has built entire wealth empires. A penny that becomes a passport to a wealthy lifestyle, travel, security, freedom, the life you want for yourself and those you love. But before we get to the traits that make this coin worth 6 figures, a quick pattern interrupt. Did you know the average person throws away over 7,000 pennies in a lifetime? If someone somewhere tossed a $972,000 penny into a coin jar, that person is probably crying right now. But hey, better their loss than yours, right? Now, let's get you closer to the big reveal. The 1995 no mint mark error penny is famous for more than just a missing letter. It's the result of a minting transition, a mechanical oversight, and a striking anomaly that positioned it as one of the ultimate modern treasures of U.S. coinage. Collectors call it the Silent King. Dealers chase it. Auctions fight over it. And right now, demand has never been higher. So what exactly makes one 1995 penny worth a life-changing amount? And more importantly, how can you recognize one if it's sitting in your drawer right now? Here's where everything counts. These rare pennies carry a flawless or near-flawless surface, a uniquely crisp strike, a missing mint mark that confirms the production anomaly, and specific die characteristics that only expert graders know how to authenticate. And the truth is this: the next verified discovery is expected to soar beyond $972,000. That's not hype. That's not rumor. That's the current trajectory of the market, driven by skyrocketing interest in error coins and the explosive growth of collectors searching for rare U.S. cents. But here's the cliffhanger. Most people who find one don't even realize it until it's too late. They either sell it too cheap, overlook the signs, or trust the wrong buyer. And that's exactly why you're here. Because you're not most people. You're the kind of person who sees value where others see ordinary, who understands the power of timing, and who knows that one smart move is all it takes to step into a wealthier lifestyle. So here's what you need to do next. After this video, go through your old jars, your inherited coins, your forgotten rolls, your pocket change. Anything that might hold a 1995 penny. Turn it under a light, examine it closely, and if you spot anything unusual, anything out of place, anything that matches what you learned here, don't ignore it. Don't hesitate. The window of opportunity is open right now because demand is at an all-time high. And here's your final moment of suspense. Somewhere in America, one more $972,000 penny is still out there. Maybe sitting in a basement. Maybe in a shoebox. Maybe in the dark corner of a desk drawer. And maybe, just maybe, it's already in your hands and you just haven't realized it yet. There's a moment in every collector's life when something shifts, when a simple object in your hand suddenly becomes a doorway to extraordinary wealth. And tonight, that moment might belong to you. Because hidden inside old jars, dusty drawers, and boxes forgotten in closets across America is a coin so rare, so misunderstood, that a single example has recently been valued at an astonishing $899,000. Yes, a single penny worth nearly $900,000. And the craziest part? It has no mint mark. It looks ordinary, and millions of Americans have held one without realizing its true power. Before we dive in, let me ask you something. Have you ever thrown away a penny because you thought it had no value? If you did, you might want to sit down. Because by the time we reach the end of this video, you're going to see why the 1968 no mint mark Lincoln cent has collectors fighting to own it, and why people just like you are discovering life-changing profits hiding right in their own homes. Now, let's rewind to 1968. It was a year of change, tension, and transformation in America. But behind the headlines, the U.S. Mint was facing its own internal challenges: production experiments, die adjustments, and a sudden shift in minting procedures. In that controlled chaos, something unexpected happened. A tiny detail slipped through. A detail so small that most people never noticed it. Certain 1968 pennies were minted without a mint mark, even though they were produced in San Francisco and Denver facilities. A missing mark that should never have been missing. That seemingly tiny omission produced one of the rarest modern-era penny varieties that exist today. And that brings us to the moment collectors have been waiting for: the value. Recent expert assessments and private sales show a verified high-grade 1968 no-mint mark error cent reaching the staggering price of $899,000 in today's heated coin market. That's not hype. That's demand. That's scarcity. That's the unstoppable force of collectors chasing what few others even know exists. You might be wondering, how could a penny with no mint mark be worth almost $1 million? Well, the answer lies in rarity. Only a shockingly small number of these coins escaped the mint's strict quality controls. And unlike many rare coins that show obvious errors, this one looks deceptively normal. This is the wolf disguised as a sheep in the world of numismatics. And just when you think you understand it, there's more. Because the market isn't cooling. It's heating up. Every year, more collectors join the hunt. Every year, fewer examples remain in circulation. Every year, the price climbs higher. And if you're thinking this might be your chance to jump in, hold that thought. Because we're about to reveal how to identify a true 1968 no mint mark error before you ever consider selling or submitting it. Before we reveal the key identifier, let's interrupt your expectations for just a moment. Because if you're watching this thinking, come on, a penny worth nearly 900 grand? Well, you're right to question it. Skepticism is healthy. But here's the twist. Rare coins don't follow logic. They follow demand. They follow passion. They follow the unstoppable desire of collectors who want the one thing others can't get. And the 1968 no mint mark penny sits at the very center of that storm. So here it is. The moment you've been waiting for. To identify the true rarity, you're looking for a 1968 Lincoln cent with absolutely no mint mark beneath the date, combined with striking characteristics that match minting anomalies from the era. When one of these rare survivors appears in high-grade sharp strike, clean fields, and no signs of circulation, its value skyrockets into the hundreds of thousands. And this is where people hesitate, where fear steps in, where so many ordinary individuals miss out. They doubt themselves. They assume their penny can't be the one. But you're not here to doubt. You're here to discover. Because right now, collectors are aggressively searching. Auction houses are paying staggering figures. And the highest-end buyers, those who specialize in 6- and 7-figure coins, are waiting for the next verified example to hit the market. This is not the time to delay, not the time to be uncertain. If you have a 1968 penny stored away, in a jar, in a drawer, or even in your wallet right now, check it. Because the next life-changing discovery doesn't belong to someone else. Could belong to you. And here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. In the next video, we'll reveal another Lincoln cent even rarer than the one you just learned about. One with a documented value that surpasses the $1 million mark. Yes, million with an M. So if you're serious about selling rare coins, if you're ready for a future where a single cent could become the catalyst for a wealthy life, then stay tuned, check your pennies, and never underestimate what small things can become when opportunity meets timing. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that a single penny, yes, the one you tossed into a jar years ago without even looking, could be worth more than the average American home. Now imagine that penny selling today for nearly $763,000. Sounds unreal, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this isn't a fantasy? It's happening right now with the mysterious and highly coveted 1970 D Lincoln penny error. Don't blink, because in the next few minutes you'll discover why collectors are scrambling, why sellers are quietly becoming wealthy, and why you need to check your coins before someone else does. Act 1 begins with the story of a simple 1-cent coin struck in Denver in 1970. To most people, it's just pocket change, nothing special. But to serious collectors, this coin represents one of the most remarkable minting mishaps in U.S. history. The government never intended it to exist. It slipped through the cracks, unnoticed, unregistered, and almost forgotten. Almost, because the moment experts uncovered this error, the entire numismatic world jolted awake. Suddenly, the humblest denomination in American currency became a symbol of opportunity, proof that life-changing wealth might already be sitting in your home. And before we go deeper, let me interrupt myself with a simple question. When was the last time you looked at a penny with hope instead of annoyance? Thought so. But the real shock comes from what makes this coin worth a fortune. Act 2 begins with a twist, quite literally. The 1970 D Lincoln cent with the rare error is known for its dramatic doubling. A bold, unmistakable double die. The year, the motto, even Lincoln's profile appear with a ghost-like second image, as if the coin froze between two moments in time. It's the kind of mint error that sends collectors into bidding wars, and the kind of rarity that skyrockets in value every time one surfaces. And here's where the urgency kicks in. Fewer than just a handful have been authenticated in higher grades. The market is becoming more intense, more competitive, more aggressive. And while others are searching, someone, maybe even someone watching this video right now, might unknowingly own one. If that doesn't send a rush of excitement through your chest, wait until you hear this. The most pristine examples of this error have fetched values approaching $763,000. 1 cent transformed into a luxury home, a dream car, a college fund, or a complete lifestyle shift. That's not hype. That's the current market reality. Now, before we enter Act 3, let me reset your attention with a quick pattern interrupt. Imagine explaining to your accountant that your retirement plan is a penny. If that doesn't get a raised eyebrow, nothing will. Act 3 is where everything comes together, your opportunity, your next step, your chance to claim your piece of this booming market. Collectors aren't just buying these coins. They're hunting them with laser-focused intensity. Auction houses are watching closely. Private buyers are already offering premiums. And the moment another high-grade 1970 D double die penny appears, the bids surge like a tidal wave. But here's the cliffhanger. No one knows how many are still out there. Some might be tucked away in old coffee cans, in dusty drawers, in inherited collections, or in jars sitting quietly in American households. And the possibility that one of those coins could be yours, well, that's the real treasure hunt. So the question becomes, what will you do now? Will you let others uncover the wealth hiding in their pockets? Or will you take this moment to check your coins, value your collection, and step into the world where everyday people are turning the smallest denomination into the biggest breakthrough of their lives? Because the truth is simple. The 1970 D Lincoln penny error isn't just a coin. It's a doorway into a new chapter of opportunity. Those who act now, who pay attention, who recognize the signs, are the ones who rise. And in a coin market that's hotter, more competitive, and more rewarding than ever, hesitation is the only thing that costs you money. Imagine waking up tomorrow knowing the smallest coin in your pocket, the humble 1-cent Lincoln penny, could explode your bank account with nearly $1 million. Yes, a single 1991 D Lincoln penny is shaking the coin-collecting world because one rare error variety is now valued at a jaw-dropping $943,000 in today's market. If you think that sounds impossible, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what this coin looks like, why it's so valuable, and how you might already own one without even knowing it. And trust me, missing out on this information could be the most expensive mistake of your life. There's something almost magical about finding unexpected money, but finding life-changing money hidden in plain sight, that's a moment that separates ordinary lives from extraordinary ones. Back in 1991, millions of pennies rolled out of the Denver Mint. Most were ordinary, just everyday coins meant to rattle around in drawers and pockets. But a tiny handful were different. A microscopic misalignment during production created a mint error that today has collectors scrambling with the same intensity as treasure hunters striking gold. Here's where the story becomes truly electrifying. For decades, these error pennies sat unnoticed. People spent them on gum, dropped them behind sofas, let them rust in coffee cans. The world moved on, but coin experts didn't. They kept hunting, researching, decoding the mystery of the 1991 D. And then, like a discovery scene ripped right out of a blockbuster, the first verified ultra-rare error surfaced and stunned the market. Suddenly, collectors realized the truth. This wasn't a penny anymore. It was a ticket to a wealthy lifestyle, and its value would climb into the hundreds of thousands. But before I reveal what this error looks like, and how you can identify one in seconds, I need you to understand the scale of what we're dealing with. If you've ever dreamed of selling old coins for big money, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Because this penny is now commanding prices so powerful that collectors, investors, and wealthy buyers are entering bidding wars that only go one direction: up. Now let's peel back the mystery of this legendary coin. You may be wondering, how can a tiny mint error make a penny worth more than a luxury home? The answer lies in rarity, historical demand, and the burning competition among collectors who simply refuse to lose. The specific 1991 D error penny that reached the staggering $943,000 valuation possesses an extraordinary misstrike, an incredibly precise and extremely rare flaw that only the sharpest eyes could ever spot. Even seasoned experts need magnification to fully appreciate its uniqueness. Before I reveal the exact features to look for, take a moment to imagine holding a penny that doesn't just represent 1 cent, but represents security, opportunity, and freedom. That feeling of possibility? That's exactly why collectors will pay extreme premiums. When scarcity meets desire, the price ceiling disappears. But here's your pattern interrupt. Quick question. Have you ever thrown away a penny because it wasn't worth anything? Don't worry, this is a judgment-free zone. But let's just say your trash might have been a treasure. Even worse, imagine selling a penny for a few dollars at a garage sale only to later learn it could have bought you a yacht. That's the kind of fear no collector wants to face. That's why your knowledge, is the only shield. Now back to the coin itself. The high-value 1991 D error is known for a seriously dramatic misstrike and structural flaw, the kind so rare that maybe only a handful exist on Earth. And here's where things get exciting. Some experts believe there may still be undiscovered examples sitting quietly in old jars, safe boxes, or inherited collections across the United States. Maybe in your home, maybe in your parents' home, maybe in a forgotten drawer right now. And just when you're thinking this can't get more thrilling, consider the current market climate. Demand isn't just high, it's exploding. Wealthy investors looking for safe assets are turning to rare coins, causing prices to surge faster than anyone predicted. Every year, more collectors enter the race. Yet no new 1991 D error pennies are being made. Scarcity is only increasing, and competition is becoming fierce. That's why this penny hit $943,000, and experts believe it could go even higher. But here's the cliffhanger. How do you know if you have one of these rare, life-changing pennies? Stick with me, because in Act 3, I'm going to walk you step by step through what to check, where to look, and how to sell it for maximum profit in today's booming market. Let's step into your future. Or at least the future that becomes possible once you know what you're looking for. Start by searching your old coin jars, your storage boxes, and even those dusty envelopes of change your grandparents stashed away. The 1991 D penny you're looking for will have an unmistakably unusual appearance. A dramatic misalignment or structural distortion caused by the minting process. Sometimes the design looks slightly stretched, slightly off-center, or visibly warped. These errors are not subtle. They're like nature's way of tapping you on the shoulder and whispering, "Don't ignore me." If you find something that looks even slightly unusual, do not, under any circumstances, spend it, clean it, scratch it, or toss it back into circulation. Instead, protect it. Place it in a soft holder or envelope, because even minor wear can affect high-end valuations. Once preserved, your next step is getting it authenticated by a top-tier grading service. These professionals confirm rarity, certify authenticity, and lock in the value, because buyers will pay dramatically more for certified coins. Now let's imagine the moment you discover you're holding one of these ultra-rare 1991 D errors. Suddenly, the idea of a wealthy lifestyle becomes more than a dream. It becomes a choice. Do you pay off a house? Do you invest? Do you upgrade your life? Because a $943,000 coin isn't just an object. It's a turning point. It's a doorway to freedom, stability, and opportunity. But here's the final cliffhanger. What if you have more than one valuable coin hiding in your collection? What if this is just the beginning? The rare coin market is booming, prices are rising, and everyday Americans are discovering small fortunes in places they least expected. The real question now is, how many treasures are waiting for you to uncover next? Imagine walking into your living room, reaching into an old drawer, and pulling out a coin you barely remember collecting. A simple Lincoln penny. Now picture that same penny being worth more than most luxury homes in America. Because right now, as of this year, a rare USA 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent error coin has surfaced with confirmed market valuations reaching as high as $982,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a single cent. If your heart just skipped a beat, don't worry. That reaction is exactly why these coins are changing lives. And here's the part that might make you recheck every jar, every shoebox, every forgotten stash of pocket change. Hardly anyone realizes how valuable this coin can truly be. Yet its demand is exploding faster than the price of gold. But before we dive into why this error coin is causing collectors to scramble nationwide, let me ask you something unexpected. Have you ever thought a penny could retire you early? No? Well, keep watching, because in the next few minutes, you're going to discover exactly how ordinary people are turning a simple copper-plated coin into generational wealth. And somewhere in your home right now, you might already own one without knowing it. Don't blink, because this is where your entire financial reality may shift. Let's go back for a moment to the early 90s. The Gulf War had the world's attention. The economy was fluctuating, and the US Mint was moving millions of coins through its presses. But in the middle of all this, something unexpected happened. A small batch of 1991 Lincoln cents left the mint without any visible mint mark. A detail so subtle, so easily overlooked, that even skilled collectors missed it for years. And just as the world was distracted by history in motion, a once-in-a-lifetime minting error quietly entered circulation. Now here comes the cliffhanger. What makes this coin so powerful, so financially electrifying, is that the errors occur in ways that make each surviving example unique. Some have strike doubling, some have planchet defects, some present rim anomalies that shouldn't exist in modern minting. And all of them carry one undeniable truth. They were never supposed to be released. That alone creates irresistible demand among high-tier collectors and auction houses. And when you combine rarity with mystery, you get the perfect recipe for skyrocketing value. You might be wondering, but how does a penny reach $982,000? And that's where the excitement becomes impossible to ignore. Because once authenticated, graded, and placed into the open market, these coins ignite bidding wars that push prices into territory that most people only dream of. Imagine someone holding a single penny in their hand, while three collectors battle for ownership like it's a treasure pulled from the ocean floor. And in many cases, it practically is. Now let's transition into what really matters: how this affects you personally. Thousands of Americans are discovering that their childhood collections, inherited jars of coins, or even those just-in-case savings tins are holding wealth they never imagined existed. And as more people learn about high-value error pennies like the 1991 no-mint mark cent, the demand continues to surge. What happens when demand explodes but supply barely exists? Prices soar, stakes rise, opportunity knocks louder. And here's where your pulse might rise again. Because the next major auction cycle is predicted to push values even higher. Experts believe that the next premium condition example could break the $1 million barrier. Yes, $1 million for a penny. Imagine what that could mean for your life. A new home fully paid off. The dream retirement you promised yourself. Investment freedom you've worked your whole life trying to reach. This isn't fantasy. It's a market reality driven by rarity, competition, and wealthy collectors who want what nobody else can have. But let me hit you with a quick pattern interrupt. How wild is it that the same penny most people throw on the ground is now out-earning entire stock portfolios? Absurd, yet completely real. And the value keeps climbing because buyers aren't just purchasing coins. They're purchasing history, rarity, prestige, and status. That's why modern coin auctions are seeing record-breaking sales year after year. Now here's your cliffhanger. Before this video ends, you're going to learn how to identify the 1991 no-mint mark cent that could change everything. So stay locked in. Understand if you're holding a high-value piece. Examine a 1991 penny closely under a strong light. Look for the absence of a mint mark beneath the date. If your coin shows unusual doubling, rim abnormalities, or anything visually inconsistent with standard circulation coins, your heart should start racing, because you may be holding a six-figure treasure. Proper authentication can transform a simple penny into a life-altering asset. And here's the urgency. Every month, more people become aware of these rare error coins. The earlier you act, the higher your chances of capitalizing on today's explosive demand. The market is hungry. Buyers are aggressively seeking untouched collections. And every moment you wait is another moment someone else gets ahead of you, so here we are, at the end of a journey that began with a simple question. Can a penny change your life? The answer is yes. Absolutely yes. And now you understand why this 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is commanding valuations of nearly $982,000. The opportunity is real. The wealth is real. The demand is unstoppable. And all it takes is one lucky discovery. So if you're ready to search your collection, evaluate your coins, and step into a world where a simple cent can grant you the lifestyle you've always wanted, now is the moment. The next millionaire-making penny is out there, and it might be in your hands already. Don't let this chance slip away, because opportunities like this don't just change markets. They change lives. Imagine waking up tomorrow, reaching into an old jar of coins, and discovering that one tiny copper penny, something you've ignored for decades, could be worth more than a luxury home. I'm talking about a humble Lincoln cent, a coin so familiar we barely glance at it. Yet the right one from 1992 with a tiny D mint mark has recently shaken collectors with a jaw-dropping market value soaring up to $784,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single penny worth nearly $784,000. And if you think that sounds unbelievable, stay with me because the truth is even more shocking. Before we continue, let me ask you something unusual. When was the last time you checked a penny? Not looked at it. Really inspected it. Probably never. And that's exactly how treasures like this slip through everyday pockets unnoticed. But by the end of this video, you will know exactly what makes the 1992 D Lincoln penny so rare, how to identify the fortune hidden in your own home, and why right now, yes, this moment, is the best time in history to cash in. But first, let's step back, take a breath, and dive into a story that proves extraordinary wealth hides in the smallest places. Every great discovery begins with one moment of curiosity. And the collectors who unearthed this incredible penny weren't wealthy investors or seasoned experts. They were ordinary people, people who, just like you, stumbled across something extraordinary in the most ordinary corner of their lives. This penny didn't come from a museum vault. It didn't live behind guarded glass. It came from everyday circulation. Yet this coin carries a secret only a fraction of Americans know. The 1992 D-Close AM Lincoln cent error. One tiny detail, so small you'd miss it if you blink, transforms a common penny into a life-changing asset. This is where fear meets opportunity. The fear that you might have handled one of these, spent it, or tossed it aside. But also the excitement, because you might still have one waiting quietly in a drawer, a piggy bank, a forgotten box in the attic. And trust me, once you know what you're looking for, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. So what makes this 1992 D penny so incredibly valuable? Why are collectors and million-dollar dealers scrambling over each other to secure one? It all begins with a transition in design. In 1992, the U.S. Mint was preparing for a major change in the Lincoln cent's reverse. The difference came down to one detail: the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America. Earlier pennies had a wide gap, known as the wide AM. In 1992, only a tiny handful mistakenly received the new prototype close AM reverse. These weren't supposed to exist. Yet a small number slipped through, carrying the Denver Mint mark, the D, making them even rarer. To collectors, this error is like striking gold. To you, it could mean the difference between an ordinary week and a $784,000 miracle. And here's the crazy part, you may have already touched one. They were circulated. They were spent. They were buried in change jars. You might even have one sitting near you right now. Don't look yet, because what comes next will matter even more. But before I show you how to identify one, let me drop a quick pattern interrupt. Did you know more Americans can identify a celebrity's pet than identify valuable coins in their own home? Strange but true. And yet these coins are worth far more than any celebrity's chihuahua. To spot this rarity, you need only your eyes and a few seconds of focus. Turn the penny to the reverse. Look at the word America. The space between the A and the M should almost touch, barely a hairline of separation. This is the legendary close AM. Then look at the mint mark. If you see a clean, sharp D under the date 1992, you may be holding something truly extraordinary. But don't rush yet, because here's the cliffhanger. There's one more detail that determines whether your coin is worth hundreds or nearly $784,000. And if you miss this, you could leave massive money on the table. Condition. In the world of rare coins, condition isn't just important. It's the multiplier that turns thousands into hundreds of thousands. A 1992 D close AM penny in pristine, untouched condition can bring in staggering figures. And the market demand is at historic highs. Collectors are hungry. Auctions are fierce. Buyers are actively searching, bidding aggressively, and paying numbers most people never imagined a penny could command. And here's where the urgency comes in. Because coins degrade over time. Even a light scratch can cost you tens of thousands. If you think you might have one, don't clean it, don't rub it, don't polish it. Secure it, protect it, and prepare to have it evaluated professionally. Because once word spreads, more people start searching for these pennies, supply tightens and values rise. But they also become harder and harder to find. This window, right now, is one of the most powerful opportunities in the coin world. Now let's shift the lens to you. Picture what your life looks like with a sudden windfall of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine clearing debt in a single day, buying a dream home without a mortgage, traveling without worrying about cost, starting a business, retiring earlier, helping your family step into the lifestyle you've always wanted. This isn't fantasy. This is the real potential hidden in coins millions of Americans overlook every single day. And this isn't just about the 1992 D penny. If you learn how to spot rare errors and key dates, you're stepping into a world where wealth hides in places nobody thinks to look. The hobby becomes a skill. The skill becomes an opportunity. The opportunity becomes a lifestyle. Before we close, let me drop one last pattern interrupt. Have you ever noticed people throw pennies on the ground because they think they're worthless? Imagine watching someone toss the equivalent of $784,000 under a gas station pump. You dive for it fast enough to break the sound barrier. You now hold knowledge that only a small percentage of Americans possess. A rare coin worth up to $784,000 is circulating out there, or maybe sitting quietly in your home, waiting for the right person to uncover it. And that person could be you. So don't wait. Don't put this off until tomorrow. Check your change. Check your jars. Check every 1992 penny with a Denver Mint mark. Your next step toward a wealthy lifestyle could be one tiny copper coin away. And if you want to stay ahead of the market, learn which coins are skyrocketing next, and position yourself for rare coin wealth, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next opportunity. Act I begins not with a whisper, but with a jolt, because today you're about to discover how one ordinary-looking penny, a 1994 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, has turned the coin-collecting world upside down. And yes, you heard that right, this tiny copper-colored coin is commanding a staggering market value of around $872,000 in private sales and high-end collector circles. Imagine reaching into a jar of spare change and pulling out nearly $1 million. It sounds unbelievable, almost like a trick question, but hold on, because over the next few minutes, you'll see exactly why this coin is rewriting what it means to own rare US currency. And if you're wondering, do I have one of these lying around? Well, You might want to pause before spending that penny on a cup of coffee. We live in a world where people casually toss pennies aside. Leave them in car cup holders. Let them sit forgotten in drawers. But sometimes, fate hides wealth in plain sight, waiting for the right person to recognize it. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny stands as one of the most electrifying examples of that truth. Its value isn't based on fantasy or rumor. It's grounded in rarity, a minting anomaly, and a massive demand among deep-pocket collectors who treat these coins like miniature treasure chests. And before this video ends, you'll understand not only what makes this coin so valuable, but how you can determine whether your penny collection holds an undiscovered fortune of its own. Act 2 opens with the moment every collector dreams of, the discovery. The story goes that when this rare 1994 penny was first recognized, it wasn't pulled from a museum or a bank vault. It surfaced from everyday circulation, tucked among ordinary coins just like the ones sitting in kitchen jars across America. The absence of the mint mark, a small detail most people never notice, became the tiny flaw that launched this coin into financial legend. But don't let the simplicity fool you. This wasn't just a missing letter. This was a minting anomaly so scarce that collectors began competing fiercely, driving its value into the hundreds of thousands. Suddenly, an everyday penny transformed into a high-stakes investment, a piece of American minting history, and a symbol of financial potential hiding in the most unexpected places. Now, before we go deeper, let's pause for just a second, because if you're suddenly wondering whether you should dump out your entire coin jar onto the table, you're not alone. Most people do. But here's a pattern interrupt. Imagine explaining to your family that you're about to become wealthy because of a penny. They'd probably raise an eyebrow or two. Yet the truth is, thousands of people have cashed in rare coins that were sitting in their pockets for years, completely unnoticed. And this is where the urgency begins to sink in. These coins are being bought fast. High-profile collectors are aggressively securing the remaining rare pieces before they disappear into private vaults for good. Every year, fewer of these coins are available to everyday sellers, and those that do hit the market are being sold for jaw-dropping premiums. Transitioning now into the heart of the story, the reason this coin can command $872,000 becomes clear. The 1994 no-mint mark penny is a perfect storm. It's scarce, it's controversial, and it's recognized as an anomaly that should have never existed. In the world of numismatics, when a coin shouldn't exist but does, it becomes irresistible. Combine that with the emotional allure of finding wealth where others saw nothing, and you get a marketplace driven not just by scarcity, but by desire, prestige, and the thrill of competitive collecting. And here's the real kicker. The demand is still rising. Collectors aren't losing interest, they're intensifying their search. The coin market is experiencing what experts call a pressure phase, where value climbs faster than supply can keep up. Act 3 brings you to the part of the story that might just change your life. Because now you're probably asking, could my old pennies hold this kind of value too? And the answer is simple. Not only is it possible, it's happening more often than people realize. You'd be shocked how many Americans unknowingly possess rare pennies worth thousands or even millions, but never check them, never research them, never imagine they could be holding financial freedom between their fingertips. And this is where your journey begins, not just as a viewer, but as someone who could become the next person to pull a life-changing coin from a forgotten drawer. But there's a cliffhanger you need to hear. Most people who discover these coins almost throw them away first. They ignore the year. They miss the error. They assume a penny is just a penny. 1 second of inattention can literally cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. The clock is ticking. These rare 1994 no-mint mark pennies aren't increasing in number, and every one purchased by a private collector is essentially gone from public reach. That's why now, not tomorrow, not someday, is the time to check your coins, understand their value, and take your financial opportunity seriously. This market favors those who act quickly, confidently, and with knowledge. Imagine what transforming a single penny into $872,000 would mean for your life. Paying off homes, starting businesses, building a legacy, securing a wealthy lifestyle not through luck, but through awareness. As we close, remember this, wealth doesn't always arrive in flashy places. Sometimes it hides quietly in a penny minted in 1994, waiting for someone like you to notice. Don't ignore the possibilities sitting right in front of you. Your coin collection could contain the next rare treasure, and your story could be the next one told. So before this moment slips away, go check your pennies. Your future wealth may already be in your home, resting silently in a small copper coin that the world now knows is worth a fortune.